Good evening, Garden Ridge. If we could settle down, take our seats, we need to start this council meeting. Okay, thank you all for being here. This is a Wednesday, April 1st, 2026 council meeting. We are starting at 6 o'clock. Roll call. Everybody's here with the exception of Jim Mueller. He has a prior engagement that he checked with us, so we wish him well. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. So we have 3 presentations tonight. I will work my way down to this other podium and get started. Okay, do we have anyone from CASA here? You want to come on up?
Come on, Dad. I'm borrowed. Yeah, come on, everybody. Come on, Keith. Come on, Keith. Oops, I'm sorry.
Okay, let me read this proclamation first, and I'd like to give somebody a chance to speak, and maybe y'all can introduce yourselves. Proclamation. Whereas there were 51,985 confirmed victims of child abuse and neglect in Texas during 2025, with 239 of those being children in Comal County, and whereas child abuse prevention is a community responsibility and finding solutions depends on involvement among all people, and whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs that benefit children and their families, whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among agencies, schools, religious organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community, and whereas everyone in the community should become more aware of child abuse prevention and encourage parents to raise their children in a safe and nurturing environment. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Lisa Swint, Mayor of Garden Ridge, Texas, do hereby proclaim April 2026 in the city of Garden Ridge as Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month, and urge all citizens to work together to help reduce child abuse and neglect significantly in the years to come. Sure thing. Would you like to tell a little bit about your work and your agency?
Sure. I'm Stacy Dufer. I am the Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center of Comal County. We average about 400 children a year that come through our doors for forensic interviews, medical exams, and family advocacy and counseling. We have 14 different interagency partners. We're proud to say Garden Ridge is one of those partners. One of our main detectives is right over here. We're very thankful for Keith. We partner with CASA, these amazing individuals right back here. The Crisis Center, they're right over here. We partner with them as well. We all work together to ensure that the children that we see and serve are taken care of. We wrap those services around them, and we hope that we're mitigating any trauma that they've gone through. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Cindy would like a picture.
Oh, sure.
Do you move in? Do you need to move in? Where do you want us, Cindy? I know, she's just taking the pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's take it, Sheila.
Okay.
In front of the podium.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, I was going to say, most of you should just stay here, right? The next proclamation is the Sexual Assault Awareness Month proclamation, presented to the Crisis Center of Comal County. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in the community, SAAM, how do you say, do you just say by the initials, or?
Yes.
Okay, SAAM aims to raise public awareness about sexual violence and educate communities about how to prevent it. And whereas Garden Ridge residents who are sexual assault survivors are valued members of the community as employees, volunteers, business owners, loving family members, friends, role models, and whereas since 2001, Sexual Assault Awareness Month has been recognized annually during the month of April, and during this 25th anniversary, we as a community will continue to raise public awareness and educate our residents on prevention against sexual violence. And whereas the Crisis Center of Comal County has served countless survivors of sexual assault and has provided wraparound services, staff, and volunteers for 40 years. And whereas the Crisis Center of Comal County and other prevention-related programs encourage every person to speak out when witnessing acts of violence, however small, and speak up when they hear others making light of sexual violence, stereotypes, or gender bias. And whereas, with leadership, dedication, and encouragement, there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing sexual violence in our community through prevention, education, increased awareness, and holding perpetrators who commit acts of violence responsible for their actions. And whereas we strongly support the efforts of national, state, and local partners and of every resident to actively engage in public and private efforts, including conversations about what sexual violence is, how to prevent it, how to help survivors connect with services, and how every segment of our society can work together to better address sexual violence. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Lisa Swint, Mayor of Garden Ridge, Texas, do hereby proclaim April 2026 in the city of Garden Ridge as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. You've got a rep that would like to speak?
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jennifer Hinahos. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer at the Crisis Center of Comal County. Thank you for recognizing Sexual Assault Awareness Month at the Crisis Center of Comal County. We see the impact of this issue every day. Last year, we served over 1,300 clients through more than 36,000 life-changing services, and that was about a 50% increase from the year before. We provided over 8,000 safe nights of shelter, and 83% of those we served left for stable, safe housing. Hope is growing. Our new shelter will be completed soon, and we look forward to welcoming the community for tours before we open. If you or someone you know needs help, please let them or have them reach out to our hotline, 830-620-7520. Together, we can build a safer, stronger community. Thank you. Okay, all right.
Another picture.
All right, we all know this pose.
Okay, we've got one more proclamation, the National Library Week proclamation. Linda, would you like to come up here with all your wonderful volunteers and your staff?
And we've got some volunteers back there who are hiding.
They're hiding. Well, we can point at them, right?
know.
And make them wave
Being
to
on the back
us.
row does
There
not
she
change.
Bring this up here.
Just
What I'm going to do is read this proclamation, And then the library has some folks that are going to talk to you about what's going on at the library to keep everybody up to date. They've got some exciting plans. So, whereas libraries provide the opportunity for everyone to pursue their passions and engage in lifelong learning, allowing them to lead their best life, and whereas libraries have long served as trusted institutions for all members of the community, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status, and whereas libraries strive to develop and maintain programs and collections that are as diverse as the populations they serve and ensure equity of access for all, and whereas libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, continually expanding their collections, services, and partnerships, and whereas libraries play a critical role in the economic vitality of communities by providing internet and technology access, literary skills, and support for job seekers, small businesses, and entrepreneurs, and whereas libraries are accessible and inclusive places that promote a sense of local connection, advancing understanding, civic engagement, and shared community goals, and whereas libraries are cornerstones of democracy, promoting the free exchange of information and ideas for all, and whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers are joining library supporters and advocates across the nation to celebrate National Library Week. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Lisa Swint, Mayor of Garden Ridge, Texas, do hereby proclaim April 19th to 25th, 2026 in the city of Garden Ridge as National Library Week. Thank you. Thanks for all you do.
Well, we can,
Oh,
Which you want the picture
Picture
first,
first. Okay,
yeah.
picture first.
all right. Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor Lisa, for this proclamation. I think sometimes it may sound humdrum. We say nearly the same thing every year, but it's good to hear it. It's good for us to be reminded, and it's good for people to hear what we stand for. So we're going to add some things in a minute. We're going to turn around and talk to you all. Okay? And these lovely ladies, y'all stay somewhere.
Flip it around. Flip it around for you.
You're going to speak too. Go ahead. We'll get out of the way.
Okay. Little bossy here. Okay, I want to say thank you to all the council people, council members. Good evening. There were two items especially in that proclamation that captured my attention. One was libraries adapt to the ever-changing needs of their communities, continually expanding their collections, services, and partnerships. And the other is libraries are accessible and inclusive places that promote a sense of local connection, advancing understanding, civic engagement, and shared community goals. That one touches my heart. They're really especially important to me because it's just the dream that I have, and I believe that's what we are supposed to be doing. I want to see our library become more and more of a community gathering place. I think it could become a destination point. And in some ways it has. Wendy Bibbert over there, she's an incredible worker with children. Some people came to hear our story time one time. Just stand up if you just say it. And they had heard about her story time. They were from Lavernia, and they drove all the way over here because they had heard about her. Isn't that great? I love it. And I just love to listen to her. So it's really important. I'm sure you've become aware, because I think I've said it a few hundred times, that the libraries have become more than just a place to check out books. We've moved from being transactional to relational. meaning we have programs and activities rather than check a book out and leave. Of course, we still emphasize books and reading, and it sounds like I do. Again, Wendy and I have been able to do an amazing number of programs and activities with very limited resources and personnel. Our children have been taught coding, science, pre-reading literacy, and computer skills while developing a love of reading and learning. Our adults' classes have helped people to form new friendships, to come out of their shells, and they've learned new skills. While our programming has made us very successful, it's caused a problem. We are just out of space. With only a little over 3,100 square feet, we could do so much more if we had more room. I think Roskell is going to mention something we had last week. We had like 65 people in there for the Easter Bunny story time. Yes, the Easter Bunny was adorable. We firmly believe that we could make it a destination point and a powerful outreach to Garden Ridge and beyond. It's the hub of our city. Ideally, we should have a large new building. But we've been looking at our options, and we believe that an addition to this current space would be the way to go, the most economical way to go. It would give us the most value for the money. The proposed expansion would involve constructing about a 5,200 square foot addition to our current building. It would be on the east side of the building. Later, when you are leaving, we have a wonderful display up here that shows what it would look like. There's a floor plan and then some pictures. They're, what do you say? AI pictures, not AI, but anyway, SketchUp pictures of what it could look like. In that, we would have so much room. The current building would be all for the children, and that would be a welcoming, open space where they can do a lot of things. There would be a meeting room that would serve as a senior citizen area, more spaces, and organizations that have a 501c3 based in Garden Ridge would be able to use it free. We've been working very hard to this end, so I hope that you will look at this rendition on your way out. The Friends of Garden Ridge Library, did you know we have friends? You're not our only friend, you're our friends. But we're working together to see about raising money through grants and private donations. I truly believe that our gem of a library deserves to grow, and indeed our whole city deserves it. My dream is to see us become the heart of Garden Ridge. So do you have any questions for me? Just say yes. Okay. So again, thank you, Mayor and City Council, for your support and your approval all these years. I'm so grateful for it. And as I said, you are very good friends, but we have other friends, and they're going to speak to you tonight. So the first one is Roskell Leatherberry. She's first. No.
Mayor and Council, I'm speaking to each of you as president of the board for Friends of the Library. We tell our children to put down their phones and pull out a book, but if we as adults don't follow that rule, why would we ever expect our children to? English majors are struggling to read Dickens. If we let this slide, in a decade, we will be lucky if these graduate students can read and understand Fun with Dick and Jane. First of all, I would like to invite each of you and the public to our annual Wine with Friends, which will be May the 7th at 6 p.m. Information about the evening was distributed in the water bill, and it is on the back of the calendar. Speaking of the calendar, you will notice that there were over 20 planned activities, which does not include people just coming in. Friends of the Library is a group of people with a common desire to promote the interest in the welfare of the Garden Ridge Library as a cultural and educational asset by supporting fundraising, events, and activities. It has been said many times, our library is not just about books. On a recent Thursday, there were over 60 people in the library at the same time. Some were there for adult games. Some were there for the children's story hour. The homeschool Latin class was there. There was a teacher with their teacher, and there was one college-age student that was trying to work on the computer, which was very difficult with all of the activities going on. Just imagine how full each space was, that the many groups trying to do their own thing, the library has completely outgrown what is available. So many planned activities, as well as people coming for books. Linda and Wendy have held 111 adult classrooms for 1,160 adults. They have had 194 classes for children with 3,859 participants. We need a library that represents our growing community with space for each of the many activities that take place. We've had an architect draw up a wonderful rendition and what can be done, and we've had a feasibility study. Now it's time for us to work to get the library for all. Mark Twain was correct when he said, "The man who does not read has no advantage over the man who cannot read." Our city needs to join this battle for a larger facility to get both young and old not only to read, but to join the many activities that the library provides. Because if the library has no future, neither do librarians. And Garden Ridge is very lucky to have two fantastic librarians with Linda and Wendy. Now I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Councilman Smith, please forgive my back, because I heard a couple people in the audience, my name is Sarah Custer, talk about the cost. So I'm going to cut half of what I wrote, because I'm military and I know my audience. I'm not going to repeat what they said, but I am going to tell you that you already know the problem. We're out of space. I'm going to talk to you about the solution. And this is to the council members, but I also want you out there to understand we're not asking for money yet. A true partnership. We recognize the fiscal responsibility of this council, and you maintain this over the city's budget. We respect that. This is why we are not coming to you at the request for a total handout. What we are proposing is a true partnership. We are committed to raising, the Friends of the Library, are committed to raising the majority of the $1.2 million that this extension will cost. We will do this through local and state grants, private donations, and community fundraising. I was on the Women's Memorial in Washington, D.C., and in no time we were able to raise money. And I'm also going to be appealing to one of our council members who also has a fundraising background to help us get some ideas. We are committed to raising this money. We have motivated residents ready to put their own skin in the game because we believe in this. I have seen the people that have showed up. I have seen the difference we've made in their lives. Some of them are here today. And we need that. We need that connection, not driving to Schertz, to their center. We need that here in Garden Ridge with our own people. By supporting this expansion, the city isn't just funding a building, you are endorsing a community-led investment in a city-owned asset. This project mirrors the success of our Parks and Trails improvement, enhancing what makes our city a premier place to live in Comal County. In closing, I'm asking the council tonight, I know we're not on the agenda, so that might have to be tabled, Ryan already told me, but I'm asking you to please formally acknowledge the importance of this expansion and to work with us as we move forward in our fundraising planning. We can't move forward until you say, hey, that's a good idea. You're not committing anything yet. You're just saying it's a good idea, and you back us to go out and get that money for this city, okay, and to increase that library. I'm an inner city kid from Detroit who, if it wasn't for a librarian who took me and my single mother in, a safe place to learn, a safe place to be, I would not be standing here as a retired Air Force colonel today. So I am passionate about this library, and I really thank you all for so much time for us not being on the agenda. Mayor, thank you.
And yes, our proclamation.
Okay, on to item 4, citizen comment period. Let's do a little reminder of some of the rules. Citizens are allowed to speak for 3 minutes each. We, as a council, are not able to respond. Direct your comments to the entire city council, not to an individual member, nor to the audience. Show the city council the same respect that you would like to be shown. State your name and address before your comments begin. City council, again, may not discuss or take action on any presented issues. Topics of operational concern shall be directed to the city manager. I encourage you, if you've got something of operational concern, to wait and visit with Ryan after the meeting. He can generally get you some information right away. Okay, so first on the list is Marilyn Winters.
Good evening. My name is Marilyn Winters, and I live at 8450 Park Lane Drive. I've lived here since 1978 and have been a patron of the library since it opened. I am one of many volunteers who work in the library every week. I am also a member of Friends of Garden Ridge Library and serve on their board of directors. I know how important the library is to our community. As a resident of Garden Ridge for the past 48 years, I have obviously seen many, many changes in our area. The growth of our community has challenged the city not to just maintain, but to also increase the services provided to our citizens. Increased resources and staffing have been allocated to the police department, water department, public works, parks, and to administrative needs at City Hall. We must now consider the needs of the library. The library building is almost 20 years old and needs the city's attention. We have simply outgrown our space. Thanks to the vision and efforts of Linda and Wendy, our library is busier than ever, with opportunities for learning and participating in activities for all ages. We need more space for both children and adult events. We need a meeting room, a workroom, a storeroom, and of course, more room for books. These are needs, not wants. Our library must expand to continue serving our growing community. We realize there are many demands on the city's limited financial resources, but we are asking the council and city staff to begin exploring ways to fund an expansion of the library facilities. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Marilyn. Next up is Tony Frasco. Good to see you, Tony.
Good evening. Happy Easter to everybody, and God bless. I'm here tonight over several things. I'm going to go backwards. This golf cart situation, it's a Pandora's box. Not that I don't want kids and everybody to enjoy it, but I find a lot of ramifications. What employees are going to issue the permits and check the insurances for this situation? And what roads and what age limits do we have, which I hope you all reviewed before you pass this, because it could be a Pandora's box. I don't want to hire more employees to handle a situation that's gonna be a flash in the pan. So that's it for the golf courts. Now I have a situation, I believe we're loaded down with senior citizens, and I being one. My water usage is low. I think we should review and do what other towns are doing, giving senior citizens a break on their water if the consumption is less than normal. If it's high, then charge a regular price. But I think this should be given to our seniors for not using water. We're very conservative. We put escapes in and everything else. Now, my next pet peeve is the garbage. Who in God's name authorized a 10-year contract with a 5% increase when the cost of living is 2.8? I think we should see if we can get out of this contract, and I think that the lawyer has to review this, because why should we have a 10-year contract with a 5% increase? And this collection agency does not do what the old collection agency we had did. They're prima donnas. They only accept certain things. If your lid is open, they won't take it. And they only accept certain things. But we have to get out of this contract and review. And in God's name, don't give 10-year contracts. I don't know who's responsible for it, but no brainer. I was a councilman, and we did not do 10-year contracts. You wouldn't want a 10-year contract on your car with 5% increase every year. So why do we have to do it for garbage? We have to take our citizens into consideration and not keep giving out money for things that are ridiculous. Okay, again, I thank you very much and have a blessed Easter. Oh, one more thing. I've been finding out there's gunshots on Osage Road. I want the police to check this further. I think the kids are shooting randomly up there with .22 caliber rifles or pistols, and somebody's going to get hurt. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Tony. Next up, we have Karen Adams.
Good evening. My name is Karen Adams, 8207 Shining Elk. And this proposed ordinance to allow golf courses on city streets impacts all drivers in the city of Garden Ridge. As a resident, I would have liked an opportunity to participate in a survey or a public vote to inform the council of my preferences ahead of time. The average speed of a standard golf cart typically ranges between 12 to 14 miles per hour for both electric and gas models. Electric standard 36-volt systems average 12 to 15 miles per hour, while 48-volt systems average 14 to 18 miles an hour. Gas carts typically cruise at 15 to 19 miles per hour. Street legal models, to be classified for public road use, must be capable of speeds between 20 and 25 miles per hour. The ordinance does not distinguish between street legal carts, vehicles, and those that are not. Vehicles that are not street legal have no business on public roadways. The ordinance proposes that the vehicles be permitted on roads with a posted limit of 35 miles per hour or less. These vehicles on average can only top 20 miles per hour. It is not safe to impede traffic with vehicles that cannot do the speed limit. Traffic will back up behind these vehicles, particularly during peak traffic hours like the morning and evening rushes. It is increasingly difficult to navigate the roads in the city as it is, with new stop signs, the many semi-trucks, more congestion that comes with new housing areas, and the congestion that comes with road construction that drives vehicles to back roads. I am strongly opposed to this draft ordinance for safety reasons and for the fact that these vehicles will definitely impede traffic. and it will cause us to take longer to get to our destinations, again, particularly during rush hour. I believe that this ordinance will decrease the quality of living in the city of Garden Ridge. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, we have Susan Soth.
Good evening. My name is Susan Soth. I'm at 20809 Woodland Cove. I'll be short tonight. I came to speak this evening to say that I am against the carts, golf carts, gators, or any such vehicles. I think they're great for a farm. I think they're great for a golf course. But as far as I know, when I've looked around the city, I don't see any of those here in our city. I would appreciate that you would listen to the citizens and what they have to say when making a decision tonight when you vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next is Bill Soth.
Good evening. William Soth, 20809 Woodland Cove here in Garden Ridge. I also am against the ordinance proposal for the golf carts, off-road vehicles, et cetera. I don't believe allowing these vehicles onto city streets and roads will be beneficial. It certainly will not be safer, and it will not be more environmentally sound. Our roads and streets are narrow as it is. We already have enough traffic just on my block in the last year and a half or 2 years. In an area of only 10 houses on our block, we've had 8 teenagers turn 16 and receive their driver's licenses. That means 8 new drivers, 8 new vehicles in the space of a year and a half in a cul-de-sac of only 10 houses. I cannot imagine adding golf carts, ATVs, et cetera, to that mix. We have problems with the roads. We don't have sidewalks. We have a lot of walkers. We have a lot of pedestrians. We have a lot of people out there with pets, with children. We have a lot of bicyclists. We have a lot of e-bikes. We've got other motorized vehicles. I don't know of any of the e-vehicles, bicycles, scooters, et cetera, that maintain at or below posted limits. They're all exceeding it, and apparently stop signs become invisible when you're driving an e-bike, e-scooter, bicycle, or if you're a young new driver. So already we have safety issues. Excuse me. I'm not sure, as somebody I think earlier had mentioned, who's going to do the administrative watch on this, who's going to enforce the policies. I believe our police department is short about 2, possibly 3 officers. They already have enough to do, not enough time, not enough people. This adds a significant burden. Also, the monetary costs for the city. There's going to be new signage, new postings. There's going to be new laws, rules, regulations. All of that costs additional money. I'm afraid also that once this is approved, if it is, there will be a proliferation. Excuse me, I was Army. I don't know all these words with more than 2 syllables. An increase, a plague, perhaps, of additional vehicles on the roads. All of them slower. When we do get rain, if we ever do, are they capable of doing that? Are they going to be driving at dusk, at dawn? Are they going to be harder to see? Are they going to be impeding traffic because they're slower? All of these things are significant issues, and I think it's important that we vote no on passing that ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Ken Kniper.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Ken Kniper, 8891 Chaintal Road. The posted speed limit on Chaintal Road is 30 miles an hour, but I can guarantee you, having lived there since the year 2003, that the average speed is about 40 to 45 miles an hour. You get a 40-mile-an-hour vehicle, a pickup truck, come up on a 20-mile-an-hour vehicle, like a golf cart, there's going to be a fatality. And who's going to have to report that fatality to that poor family? of the injured person or the fatality. It's not going to be you, it's going to be the police officer. Why do that to our PD? They're hard workers. They don't need to be talking to people when they're seriously injured. There's too many people walking. I have driven the Citizen Patrol car through all of Garden Ridge, and I can tell you there's women pushing baby carriages in the morning. There's older adults walking, people walking their pets. There are bicyclists. Bicyclists are hard enough to keep track of, but if you start putting all these other vehicles in the mix, why not take all the streets and make them all pedestrian? No vehicles allowed, because it's not going to be safe to anyone. I live in the George Ranch, and I've been on that board, and we've had trouble with golf carts. And the only way to get anything stopped is you got to get the police officer to catch them. You can't just call and say, there's a golf cart going 20 miles an hour going the wrong way on Shanetal Road. They've got to actually physically see them. And if they're on a burglary call, they're never going to get there. So I can see why this ordinance is on April the 1st. It's April Fool's Day. And I'm being very serious. I don't play games. I'm straight from the hip. Nobody in their right mind would vote for this. You're looking for trouble. Yes, you gotta have a license plate. But none of these vehicles are gonna drive 30 miles an hour. You're gonna reduce all the speed limits in Garden Ridge to 20 miles an hour? I lived in and you got gated communities that got 19 mile an hour speed limits, and they can't get their residents to drive 19 miles an hour. So it's not gonna happen. Last night I was at a soccer game. Davenport Soccer will play again tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Del Valley High School for the quarterfinals. The winner of that game will go to the final match on April the 9th. This will be the second year in a row we have gone to that game. Last year we beat Salado, and we're hoping to beat them again. So I don't see enough of our residents actually at the high school. Since this high school is opened, we have done great things. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up is Roy Leatherberry.
Yes, Roy Leatherberry I had to write down my address because we hadn't lived there long enough for me to memorize it. 20711 FM 3009. And I am smiling a bit because my wife told me as I came up here, stay calm. And you need to understand, this is me being calm. Texas ranks among the highest number of deaths or energy that involve off-highway vehicles, ATVs, and golf carts. Placing ATVs, golf carts, or other off-highway vehicles on the streets of Garden Ridge is asking for injuries and death. It is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. The prefrontal cortex of an individual does not develop until late 20s. Let us not condemn our youth to accidents involving death or energy before they have the ability to make sound decisions. As in, don't get on a street with a vehicle not designed to be on the street. As to the others that may be older and may be more mature, try walking. You need the exercise. City council members, for the most part, cannot be sued for voting to passing ordinance that may cause death or energy or might be stupid, nor can they raise your child from the dead. They can, however, be voted out of office or recalled. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Thomas Klimas.
Tom Klimas, 9610 Meadow Rue. We've been residents since August of 1994. In 2023, there was a discussion about the trash contract with Republic, and they made a proposal to go to side load. One gentleman in the truck, not two, Not a lot of stuff out in the street. I was dead set against that. I would put all kinds of stuff out there, and generally all got picked up. I changed my mind. Once it started, it works great. I like it. I stood at this podium and thanked the council. It was a prudent decision. Another prudent decision has recently been made. Impervious surfaces, concrete, brick. During stage 2, pressure washing, it's a no-no. It's outlawed. It was. We used to wash in years past our curb, our concrete driveway, walkway, front door stoop, house, under the eaves, under the awnings, out on the patio. Haven't done it in quite a while. However, a recent change, another prudent change, washing impervious surfaces is prohibited except as approved by special variance described below. You have to justify it and submit it to the city manager for his decision. I think that's a good decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. We've got Ross Bacon up next.
I made a bad R. I thought you might call me Poss.
Oh.
Thank you. My name is Ross Bacon. We live at 21260 Forest Water Circle. I've been there now for 21 years. For many months, our city manager has led the efforts to recruit and hire a part-time certified code compliance officer. The simple solution, and at no incremental cost to our city, is staring you, City Council, in the face. In Texas, peace officers have a specific exemption allowing a peace officer licensed or commissioned in Texas to engage in code compliance enforcement and is not required to register as a code enforcement officer under Occupation Code Section 1952.002. A Garden Ridge police officer can perform code compliance duties without obtaining a TDLR registration. This is a common scenario for small cities like our Garden Ridge. A police officer responds to a citizen complaint, observes a zoning or property violation, and documents the issue or issues a notice. The exemption under this occupation code doesn't limit how much code enforcement a peace officer does. It specifically exempts them from registration entirely, whether they are doing it full-time or just responding to an occasional citizen's complaint. A police officer responding to a citizen's code compliant, documenting the violation and issuing a notice would be operating within their full authority as a licensed police officer in Texas. That's the credential that covers them. They do not need to go out and search for code violations. That'd be nuts, and we have enough nuts in here already. The officer just needs to be instructed to follow up on a concerned citizen's complaint. It's not likely to be an emergency requiring immediate dispatch. Maybe give the officer a week to carry out his duties. The only explanation I've heard for failure to have one of our officers respond to a citizen complaint of a code violation, and I quote, police officers don't like to do that. I quote, police officers, they just don't like to do that. So there you go, tail's wagging the dog again. Seems like a problem to solve, and without incremental cost to the city, instruct the officer to do his duty, serving the citizens of Garden Ridge. By the way, golf carts are a bad idea. I hope you're willing to accept the responsibility of somebody's kid being injured or killed.
Thank you. Up next, we have Shelby Trial.
My name is Shelby Trial. I live at 21657 Forest Water Circle. Before I talk about the card agenda item, I want to take a moment to honor a Garden Ridge resident who recently passed away. Hugh McDonald was a husband, a father, an Air Force veteran, and a friend to many in Garden Ridge. For many years, Hugh was the stalwart of the Citizens on Patrol program for the GRCPAA. I believe he holds the record for the number of miles driven in this city. The Air Force gave Hugh his first set of wings, and now God has given him his second set. Hugh will be dearly missed. God bless you, Hugh. With regards to the card ordinance, I'm against it. I live in Forest Waters, and my subdivision will have a target on it, as people will use my subdivision to drive their carts to the club and to Paul Davis Park. Allowing carts on the roadways puts more pressure on our understaffed police department as they try to enforce the new ordinance. It's a fact of life that accidents will happen. But make no mistake, if a car hits a cart, the car is going to win every time. And heaven help the occupants of that cart. This is why the city stopped city employees from using their golf carts almost 10 years ago. And now we're going to start up again. I urge you not to pass this ordinance because it will undoubtedly put people's lives at risk.
Thank you. Let's see, flip the page. We have David Hatch.
Good evening, David Hatch, 8377 Twisted Oaks here in Garden Ridge. Two concerns, and part of the golf cart ordinance states that members of the public may use off-highway vehicles on the streets and roads of the city of Garden Ridge on all or part of public street and road. And then the ordinance states off-highway vehicles. The definition is set out in the Texas Transportation Code and currently means a motor vehicle is designed by the manufacturer for off-highway use by the operator only. The ordinance sort of states two different things, and it's flawed. It violates a state law as written. And in my opinion, the interests of the people that don't want carts to date have not really been addressed. The interests of a small subgroup that want carts seems to be taking precedence over the interests of the city as a whole. All these type carts will impede traffic flow. State law dictates that regardless of the speed limit, a driver should not disrupt the flow or impede the flow of traffic. These carts are a hazard to me and other drivers. Maintaining a normal speed is a legal expectation. I think I should be able to expect to drive on the city roads without having to be concerned about the surprises involved with carts in the way while I'm doing my daily commuting. They are truly a safety hazard for the city, especially on Bat Cave and Schoenthal. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Jim Moreland.
Council, Jim Moreland at 9622 Primrose. Been there for 24 years. I should know by now. I have to think about it. When I first heard about the cart ordinance, I was quite frankly thought that might be a pretty slick thing to do, riding around in the open air in my golf cart. And then I looked at some of the safety statistics, which I'd like to share with you. The national numbers, 15,000 emergency department visits from golf cart accidents. Some estimates approaching 26,000 injuries per year, 600 fatalities annually. What concerns me most is 31% of all victims are under age 16. And I don't want to inflict that on our children. And they suffer traumatic brain injuries at a 3 times the adult rate. Operating golf carts on public roads is a factor in 32% of all golf cart accidents. And most of them occur as carts move from, in this case, golf cart paths onto streets. That's 40% of vehicle golf cart collisions. And intersections without stop controls. That's mostly a result of driver inattention or distraction, And the two impacted groups are people over 65 and people that are children. Everybody in between gets a break, I guess. 45% of crashes involve speeds above safe limits. Driver inexperience is 35%. And safety defects, believe it or not, were high on the golf cart thing because they're unlicensed, and most golf carts live their entire life without a tire change. I didn't know that. And now we're going to put them off the grass and onto pavement. No seat belts or improper restraint use. 75% of all ejection-related crashes are attributed to that. Children under 16, even though they're not supposed to drive them, they can be passengers or drive them anyway. 22 to 31% of all injuries, 4,000 cases in the last year reported to 2022. And seniors 65 plus, 45% of fatalities and 85 deaths in 2022. So, in short, I don't think the statistics really support doing this, and I would implore you to not pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Kim Schmick.
Hi, everybody. I am Kim Schmick. I'm at 8223 Shining Elk Garden Ridge. I thought you might be tired of hearing from me by now because I think this is my 4th time speaking to you. So I brought my daughter, Sadie. Hi, Sadie. That way we have a new face today. And I apparently am not in my right mind tonight, so sorry about that. I'm speaking in favor of the golf carts. We had a number of people come out in the last 3 or 4 meetings that we've had, so open forums and just kind of the general conversation that started a few months back. So I'm sorry that we won't have as many as we had today, but I was a little bit concerned I may not make the meeting tonight because I had come directly from the hospital where my mom is being treated right now for cancer. She lives just across the street from my daughter. I have another daughter, and my husband and I. We actually moved to the area specifically so we could get closer to her after I had left the military and my husband had left the military. We are in an area where you can use the golf cart in the woods of Garden Ridge, so it's really nice. We can drive around, but we can't go outside of the gate to see my parents. So we can't go get them, we can't bring them to us, we can't get them to Paul Davis Park. So when I had come previously, I will just reiterate a couple of the comments that I made, that I do feel like the golf carts help us be a more cohesive community, they help us interact a little bit more, and as we bring younger families in, which I think we are a growing population of younger families, they're moving to be closer to their older parents, and they're trying to do activities with those older parents. So I know that when my mom is able to get out of the hospital, ideally we're hoping by Easter, it would be great if I could tell her that we're gonna be driving our golf cart to go pick her up, and we're gonna head out to Paul Davis when she feels better, and we're gonna go see all her friends at the club, by the way, which we do frequent, go over to the club, and we do that a lot on e-bikes and all kinds of vehicles that are not driving 30 to 40 miles an hour. So the only other thing I would say is I do not mind if we have vehicles on the road that are driving slower, because they were all really good points, right? People speed, it's real bad. So the new stop sign out on Schoenthal, I've seen you guys out there about every other morning, or maybe every morning, right? Trying to catch those people because they know they're speeding. So we've added that element, and I think it's not necessarily a bad thing to slow people down and take a minute to say hi. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Next is Rod Chamberlain.
Rod Chamberlain, 8807 Cherokee Path, in the city of Garden Ridge, state of Texas, United States of America. Just want to be thorough here. I had a real good presentation all set up, and it's gone. I'm going to speak to you as a person who's not Texan. I came here. I've been here since 2014, and Garden Ridge is my home. And what I've seen on the issue of golf carts is for or against. For or against. We've got enough of that shit going on around here in this country. It's time that we go ahead and we understand that we can disagree on something, but can we come up with a common solution that is beneficial to the city? The ordinance, the way it sits today, I will tell you from my 30-plus years of experience in the insurance industry, going over compliance, endorsements, restrictions, liability lawsuits, it's a bad decision the way the ordinance is set right now. It's wrong, it's bad, it's inadequate. You're not checking all the boxes. I don't know how else to put it to you. I was going to be a lot more diplomatic here, but it was going to take about 3 minutes and 2 seconds. So I'm just going to tell you from the heart, I love this city, but I don't love the way this issue is tearing up parts of the people in this city right now. If there's a reason to have the golf carts, and if we can do it correctly, legally, looking at the legal side, looking at the police side, looking at the administration side, the safety side, the community at best, then fine, let's go ahead and figure it out. But let's not go ahead and do the, I'm for and I'm against, and that's the end of it. So I'm going to stop there, folks, but I will tell you, the way it's set up now, you should not approve this ordinance as it sits tonight. It is totally inadequate. And I cannot say it any more than that, and I'm talking about from at least 20 different points. And if Ryan wants to go ahead and touch base with me after the meeting or in the future, I'd be more than happy to go through them bullet point by bullet point. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And last is Dawn Hatch.
Dawn Hatch, 8377 Twisted Oaks. No golf carts. More concerning are the proper roles and responsibilities in our local government, which is the involvement of the chief of police drafting a city ordinance. I read the ordinance, and it allows off-highway vehicles and neighborhood electric vehicles. Only golf carts were discussed, not these other vehicles. Quotes from the March 4th meeting about carts. Mayor, Chief has put together a proposed ordinance. So you, meaning Chief, presented it was September, October that you brought the proposed ordinance. Everyone, meaning council, should have those as part of their packet from the fall. The proposed ordinance was given directly to council. Chief, I provided a couple of drafts based off of New Braunfels and another agency. There was example 1 and example 2. Mayor, you've got 2 proposed guidelines and then a proposed ordinance. Chief, I did a lot based on the New Braunfels does have the program. A lot of their format is what I used and duplicated. Ordinances are laws. Writing those laws is a legislative function. When there are questions about who is drafting policy, how decisions are being made, or official positions are being used inappropriately, those concerns deserve answers. The police play an important role in enforcing laws, not creating them. The issues is whether the city and chief are acting in a way that is lawful, accountable, and consistent with the charter and ethics standards we expect. The city is losing public trust. When a chief of police is directly involved in drafting ordinances, such as we have here, it blurs the line between enforcement and lawmaking. It's a fundamental principle of our system of government. Lawmaking belongs to elected officials who are accountable to the public, not to appointed personnel. While his input is valuable and often necessary, it must remain advisory, not directive. The mayor says if there are problems with the ordinance, it can be tweaked, modified, altered, but she fails to say that can only be done after 2 years from the date of passing the ordinance, pursuant to the charter. I want to be respectful and clear. I'm asking the council to table this ordinance and it be returned to the proper legislative process. And I ask that it be placed on a future agenda and that staff provide a written explanation or legal review. Even when decisions are difficult, residents deserve to understand the reasoning and have confidence that the process is fair. Advancing this ordinance without correcting the process risks violating the principles of due process that this council is obligated to uphold.
Okay, thank you for all the comments and feedback. We are on to number 5, consent agenda. These items may be acted upon in a single motion. No separate discussion or action on these items will be held unless requested by a council member. Public comment on these items may be heard during citizen participation. However, that does not mean the item will be considered outside the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda.
And a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. The ayes have it. So we are on to 6, staff reports. 6.1 is city manager report.
Mayor and council, just so you are aware, we have recognition of employees of service. We have 3 employee anniversaries for this month. Cindy Simmons, myself for 1 year, sorry. Cindy Simmons, 2 years, and Ruben Macias for 2 years. So, thank you. Acknowledgement of volunteer contribution in hours. Our water bill, our volunteers did over 6 hours, and the library had a total of 118 hours for the month of March. So, City Council, you have any questions related to anything in the packet related to the departments? Any questions in there? I asked Marissa to give some updates on the elections.
Yes, so I just wanted everyone to know that the sample ballot has been posted on the city's website. That can be found on the election page on the city's website. And then also about early voting. Early voting will be conducted here at City Hall on April 20th, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th from 8 to 5. April 25th, which is a Saturday, 10 to 6, and then April 27th and 28th from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Those dates and times can be found on the website as well, but I mainly want to highlight there will be no in-person voting on Tuesday, April 21st. This is probably going to be confusing for a lot of people. There's a holiday in Texas Election Code, San Jacinto holiday, so you're not allowed to have any voting activities that day. I asked if we could anyways. Secretary of State's office was like, no. So I at least tried because I feel like it's going to be confusing. But no in-person voting on Tuesday, April 21st. All the other days we will have early voting. And then Election Day will be conducted here at City Hall, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's on May 2nd. And then the election canvass has been scheduled for Monday, May 11th at 6 p.m. here in the City Council chambers. And then one more additional piece of information that I just learned today is the League of Women Voters of the Comal area will be hosting a candidate forum on Monday, April 13th at the Community and Event Center. The doors will open at 6 p.m. The forum begins at 6:30 p.m. And we will be putting this information out on social media and on the website starting tomorrow since we just got it today. But mark your calendars for Monday, April 13th. Doors open at 6, forum begins at 6:30. And that is all I have about elections.
All right. Thank you, Marissa. General updates related to community permits and usage of the community center and the agenda packet. In regards to community center, we're working on further interior and potentially landscaping improvements to the community center. And next month, I'll have an agenda item related to capital infrastructure projects for council to consider during the budget process this summer. And then we'll have a draft 2027 budget calendar for city council's approval as well. We're also in the process of finding a facilitator to hold a workshop with the new city council in May to develop a strategic plan moving forward. The design is underway at the new trail at Paul Davis Park. We hope to start construction after our 4th of July celebration. And if you recall, council, you authorized myself as city manager to apply for a grant, Texas Water Board, Development Board. We're targeting the Interconnect project with SAWS for the construction dollars associated with this grant, and we'll hope to be applying sometime in mid-May. A couple other things we're working on is an agreement with the city of Schertz for sewer service, and an agreement with the City of Selma for potentially providing code enforcement services. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Up next was 6.2, City Engineer Project Report. Hi, Jason.
Mayor, City Council, I don't have any report beyond what is, provided in the engineering report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
All right, that was easy.
All right,
All right,
thank you. Thanks for being here.
Mayor, I did forget on mine, you always ask that I follow up on citizens to be heard, and last month Sharon Stripling spoke, and she mentioned the three-way stop at Schoenthal and Waterwoods Drive, which has already been completed and implemented. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are on to 7, approvals and authorizations. The following items are for discussion, consideration, and action. 7.1, ordinance number 168-042-026, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, authorizing city employees to use golf carts and regulating the operation of OHV, UTV, NEV, and golf carts on streets and roads by members of the public within the City of Garden Ridge by establishing rules for safety of operation, providing for severability, and declaring an effective date. City Manager?
Mayor and Council, as we discussed last month, we held a public hearing on this item, and you had asked to bring forward an ordinance for consideration. The proposed ordinance would establish regulations governing the operation of the golf carts, NEVs, off-highways, similar vehicles within the City of Garden Ridge. Pursuant to Texas Transportation Code, municipalities are authorized to permit the operation of golf carts, certain low-speed vehicles on public roadways, which posted speeds limits of 35 per hour or less. The ordinance, as indicated, and I'm going through our agenda item summary here for the background purposes, this ordinance utilizes that authority to allow both city staff and members of the public to operate such vehicles under defined conditions. It establishes definitions, operational limitations, equipment requirements, and enforcement provisions to ensure safe and consistent use of these vehicles within the city. As mentioned in the agenda item summary, it's a summary of key provisions which talks about authorization, operational limits, equipment requirements, operator requirements, the prohibited use, and then of course penalties there. It does have the administrative provisions, including an ordinance that becomes effective obviously at the adoption. As I've mentioned here, the ordinance has been reviewed by the city attorney, prepared, and aligns with the Texas Transportation Code, including provisions related to golf carts, low-speed vehicles, and highway vehicles. As I mentioned, the City Council did a public hearing last month. I know you've spent multiple meetings, both in the fall, discussing this item. And so from our standpoint, staff is presenting this. If council is considering approval, staff has prepared a short FAQ video and/or communication plan outlining the provisions in this ordinance. This will be placed on the website and our social media. So if you wanted to review the video that Cindy has prepared based on your direction last council meeting, we can provide that to you as well. This is an FAQ that shows, hopefully with an educational and informational purpose, of the sort of do's and don'ts with golf carts. Thank you, Cindy. Sure. All right, thanks, Cindy. So moving forward, just some few points, council, that this allowed by Texas on below 35 miles an hour, adds safety standards, plus enforcement authority, limits use, daytime, local streets only, requires equipment, license, and insurance. Some key safety rules: valid driver's license required, insurance required, golf carts, all passengers seated, no children under 4, and must meet equipment standards. It does have penalties for first and repeat offenses. At this time, council, we can open up for discussion. If you want to hear from any other staff, Chief is obviously not here tonight to speak in regards to the police department. So,
Would somebody like to start? I know, Brian, you had some comments on the ordinance. We could look at those.
Yes. Yeah, that's fine. I'll go first. I was going to say I wish Chief was here, and I actually wish Jim was here too, because I feel like they're a part of this and very important component of this ordinance that we're looking at today. I was going to say that, yeah, I had some concerns on what I had sent everybody about one of the lines on the first page about City Council finding that this is safe to allow for the general public. I had an issue with the verbiage on that because I don't believe as council members we're qualified to make a call on that. To me, that's not something that I would be comfortable putting my name on, saying as an ordinance that's going to stay here forever, that I said on this ordinance that I believe it's safe to allow for the general public to use golf carts. So that was one issue I had at the beginning of the ordinance on page 1. There were some other references I made to seatbelts being a requirement. Going back to one of the constituents that said, I think it was Ken Kniper, about the speeds on Shonthal. There's also a dip on Shonthal. I'm concerned with a golf cart going on a speed down that road and they don't have a seatbelt and they go down that dip and somebody can fall off of that golf cart, because I don't think that road right there is equipped to hold somebody going down that on a golf cart without seatbelts. So I'm kind of, coming from a public safety background, I think that seatbelts should be a requirement on these types of vehicles, not an option. So those are some issues that I saw on this that right off the bat looking at it that I was concerned about. I also know that I was looking for specific streets named in the ordinance as well. I know it just says roads that are under 35 miles an hour, but looking at other new ordinances like New Braunfels, Cibolo, they actually list the roads that you can actually ride a golf cart on. So I know we're maybe not there yet, but if a road is constructed that's anomaly for this, it's going to confuse citizens on what they can ride a golf cart on or not. So I think we should be specific on what streets are mentioned in this ordinance. I see the education piece. I know that was requested by Councilmember Mueller. I know he would be here to attest to that, and that was good. I thought the video was good. Also, there's no, other than it says you can drive within the city limits, it doesn't say how far you can drive from a parked location. That's also one thing I've looked in the other ordinances that I don't see, whether it's 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles. Those are some things I was concerned with on that. I also know that I kind of think I get where this came from, but I also know that I don't know if this is going to be fair to other neighborhoods that couldn't even be able to do this. If it is passed, they're not going to be able to do this. I don't believe Trophy Oaks, Regency Oaks, Arrowwood are able to do any of these things. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't believe they can. So it would only be certain neighborhoods that could benefit out of this. And I'm all about being fair to everybody. I will tell you that I think this is being rushed, in my opinion. I think we should do some more research on it. I don't think there's a rush for this. I know it was mentioned at the last meeting that we have been doing this, I think y'all said 4 or 5 years ago. Half the council wasn't even here 4 or 5 years ago. So I don't know what the issue is with starting over. Let's focus on this. We have time to get it addressed, get everything going, because again, I'm concerned about the safety aspect of it. I get it. I see the other side of it, people that want to have it. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy on this, but what I'm trying to say is that I think we need to be smart about what we're doing. I kind of echo what Rod was saying. I just think that we need to focus more on what are we trying to do, more information. I don't think it would hurt to even have the community to have a forum to come out and talk more about this rather than rush it today. We don't have everybody here to begin with. Another thing is, I will make a note of this. I've had coffee with Council Member Reyes and a majority of my constituents. I mean, I always say this, I want to hear your voice. Come talk to me. Tell me what's going on in your world, and what do you support and what you don't. And I have to tell you, the last two I've had, I have had zero talk to me at my coffee with Councilmember Reyes that wants this golf cart ordinance passed. They're all voting, they want it thrown off the agenda. I have to listen to my constituents. I mean, I'm their voice. That's why they elected me. If I don't listen to them, what am I doing up here? So I'm gonna tell you right now, I think if we're gonna have to vote on this today, my vote is no. However, if we can wait on this and get more information and research it, I don't know what maybe the future could hold, but I think today, if we have to vote on this today, we don't have everybody here, we need to wait or to know on me. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Who's next?
All right, I'll weigh in, and I'm going to do something I absolutely hate, which is suggest we kick the can down the road a little bit further. Not just because Jim's missing and the chief's missing. We have some questions that are being asked by members of our city, by our constituents. Yeah, we held a public meeting. Maybe we need to do another one. Main reason I'm going to suggest we're going to kick the can down the road, and I hate saying this, like I said, I hate doing that. We're going to have potentially 1 for sure, 2 potentially new council people sitting up here, literally in 4 weeks. We've got questions that are being raised. We don't have the chief here. We don't have Jim here. It's probably time to table it for another month or 2, give the new council a chance to take a look at it, and then reassess. I think we can do this. I think we can do it safe. I think people are abusing it already. And for those of you that are out there letting your kids drive your golf carts down to the club at Forest Waters or out to the park, you got to quit. You're going to lose your golf cart. You're going to have your kids, not arrested, but they're going to be cited and they're going to be taken in by the police. They can't do it. It's illegal. Oh, by the way, if they're under the age of 16 and we pass this ordinance, they still can't do it. And I've seen people driving their golf carts over to the club at Garden Ridge. So, and they're not old enough. I recognize 1 or 2 of those kids, and they're not old enough to be driving them yet. So my recommendation is we don't vote on this tonight. We get Jim in on this. We get the chief back. We take a good hard look with inputs from some of our citizens, and I'm gonna look at you back there, Rod, with what your concerns were specific about. And we take a hard look at this before we go ahead and vote on it. And I hate saying that because that's me shirking out because I'm not going to be sitting in this seat in a month.
Right, I'm going to step in here right now and say what questions need to be answered specifically and see if we can't address them right now while we've got the city manager and our city attorney here. I'm sorry, you can't speak. I'm sorry, you can't speak. Dawn, you may not speak.
She just did.
Well, she's not allowed to, and we've got officers here.
The chief didn't write the ordinance.
The chief did not, turn on your microphone, please.
The chief had input, but I was the one writing the ordinance there.
Not according to what the mayor said. She specifically said he drafted an ordinance.
He provided an ordinance to the city manager.
That's not what you said.
Officers,
Every time I email somebody, I get no answer.
I will say this, and I believe in hearing things from both sides and making decisions for, from a broad point of view. However, I will say I am absolutely touched by the number of our constituents that have come out on tonight to speak about the golf cart issues. But I will be honest with you when I say that this is also where the peak of my level of frustration is. Because I've been here in May at almost a year, and golf carts has been something that we've been talking about at least since I've been sitting in the seat. And I know that people work, and I know that people have jobs, and I know that city business is not something that is on your mind every day. But when we have items on the agenda that are this popular and this passionate, why are we in the 11th hour with 90 people that want to speak on it when there was a public hearing that was last month and was published that there would be a public hearing before that? I am respectful of all of the emails that we have received, whether it was for or against. And I will say this, our city attorney has bounced every concern that has come through email has been bounced off of the ordinance that the chief assisted and advised in our city attorney drafting. Our city council members had the opportunity to weigh in and speak on or add additional verbiage, and that was taken into consideration. So I totally respect and I totally love that you guys are all here and we've been hearing from the constituents the long haul. But at some point, I will say that a decision needs to be made. Kicking the can down the road, I absolutely understand with there being an election coming up and with the number of people that showed up today, but at some point, we as the city need to make sure that we are doing our due diligence when all of this stuff is on the agenda in the first place. And I will personally say that coming from a compliance background and speaking with the conversations that we've had about the golf carts with or without the constituents and individual conversations, I believe that the city is doing their due diligence. Do I think that safety is paramount here? Absolutely. Am I okay with having another look at the ordinance? Yes, I am. But at some point, a decision needs to be made.
I am highly against kicking the can down the road. The city council has done this in other areas. That's why we've got water lines that are 40 years old and that need replacing. This issue has been vetted as much as it can be through the city manager, through our city attorney, with the chief of police. He has had his inputs. He's talked about what would happen operationally. So again, I ask what questions need to be answered, and we could probably answer them here and now. And I don't believe in kicking the can down the road to a future council. That's just, it's bad practice. We're here, we were elected to make decisions, and that's what we need to do. Oh, I should add one more thing. As far as amending ordinances can be amended at any time. At any time. So if we find things that are not working in this ordinance that we need to strengthen or change, they can be amended at any time. The charter, the city charter, can only be amended after it's been in place for 2 years. That does not apply to the ordinances. Can you confirm that for me, city attorney? Marissa also checked as well.
Yeah, that is correct.
It is correct. Kelly?
Well, first off, I want to thank everybody for coming and expressing their opinions tonight on this. You're right, this has been going on a long time. I've been on council almost 4 years now, and Brian, I understand where you come from as far as your constituents. And that's why I'm saying this. My constituents, I'd say 95% of them have asked, when are we going to get this passed? Why can't we have golf carts? And when this was brought up last year, we took some time, we sat back. Dan and I know whoever else in the city, they put together the ordinance. They created a map. And I'm assuming that map would be, it doesn't go with the ordinance, but it would be posted online. Am I correct?
That would be included, yes. It was the map that was outlined of basically where you can and can't go with a golf cart.
Right. And so we got to October. And in October, at the request of our of city staff, we took a recess on it. And at that October meeting, it was I mean, I was under the understanding that it was insinuated that Councilman Reyes and the chief and that you guys were going to work on fine tuning it. And come back 4 months later, 5, 6 months later almost, here we are again, right? And then Kendra, I understand your frustration. Things get kicked down the can gets kicked down the road, it keeps getting kicked. And guys, I know safety is paramount. I want this to, I mean, the last thing I want is somebody to get hurt on one of these. But the amount of people that have come to me asking for this is overwhelming. And for every email I've gotten against it, I've gotten 10 saying, when can we make this happen? What can we do to make this happen? So it puts us all, we're all in a bad spot tonight, right? I mean, it's, no matter which way, if we do vote on it, whoever votes for it looks bad to some people, whoever votes against it looks bad to some people. So, the way I look at it, if we have people screwing this up, we bring it back here and we get rid of the ordinance. And you had your chance. Everybody's been letting their 13-year-olds drive their carts, and we're gonna pull it, unfortunately, because nobody's responsible enough. But I don't think that's gonna be the case. I said at the last meeting. What frustrates me too is we did have a public hearing last week, and I know, and I like most of you in here, I know most of you in here, and I like all of you, but we had a public hearing last week. So I don't know where everybody was at last week, but almost everybody who was here last week was for it. So I don't know why it was put off till tonight for everybody to come speak. So that's frustrating to me. I'm missing my daughter's track meet right now, being here. Right? That's okay. That's what I signed up for, right? But we had a public hearing last week for this very reason. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm on the. I'm of sound mind that I feel like with Chief's input that he's had, we're compliant with the state. Correct, Dan? I can't be against it this time. And like I said, but if we end up passing this and people aren't responsible enough, then
we can always come back and amend, because if nothing is ever perfect, but we can always come back and amend and work on it, improve it. But this is, a decision that you council members get to make. So.
One of the biggest complaints I hear too from our residents, we kick the can too long on stuff. We keep overusing that term tonight, but it's true. And we do that, and we do it over and over again. And it's very, especially as me as a small business owner, I mean, I make decisions like this, right? And so when it takes months and months and months and years to get something approved or, disapproved, it is frustrating. So I understand Kendra's frustration on that.
Again, I kind of go back to kicking the can down the road. I think I think that doesn't serve any purpose. You know, we vote on it and move on, you know, yes or no. I will say that I also don't believe that there is more research to be done, that there are more attorney opinions to get. We've discussed this thoroughly with the chief and have his opinions. The ordinance itself follows Texas law. There is nothing in there that is, I'm sorry?
Follows Texas law verbatim.
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 I mean, I don't know how much more better I can make it.
Right, I just don't know that there's a whole lot of unanswered questions. There's a lot of different information about the safety. You know, one of the things that I had read, I mean, there's certainly more accidents on e-bikes, bicycles, cars, far more accidents in those kinds of vehicles. I'm, you know, in consideration of some of the things that Brian has said in the ordinance, Dan, do we have to have a sentence in here that says, and safe to allow the general public? He struck that, and I don't know if that's something that we have to address of the safe and safety and welfare kind of statement.
It's there because y'all are elected. I mean, y'all are elected by your citizens, and that's why it's there. It's just, it's there because that's what you do. If that makes any sense. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't know if I would feel comfortable striking it.
Okay, and we do make decisions
For the public.
for
That's
the
what you
public.
do. That's
why we
I mean,
were elected.
Yes, ma'am. And that's why I don't know how better to say that or any other way to say it, but because you are elected, you to make decisions for your constituents, the public.
And I also think that that's important to be in there because it implies a sense of responsibility, that we are responsible.
And that's why it's there.
Right. That we are
That's
responsible
why
and
it's
we
there.
accept that responsibility.
You know, and that's why it's there, is because you are responsible ultimately. Of course, legislative, you know, immunity and all that, but
Right.
you're doing what you believe is best for your public, for your voting citizens.
Correct.
That's why it's there.
And just flipping to the next page, just going through some of Brian's comments on page 2, where it says where traffic control is enforced by the Garden Ridge Police Department. I do believe that needs to be struck. That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Do we all agree with that?
Yeah, that was another thing I forgot to bring up. Thanks, Mayor. Yeah, that was not an understanding page 2C, where traffic is enforced by Garden Ridge Police, where I striked it out on the, I don't know if you have a copy of what my amendments were. That doesn't make any sense to me. I was getting confused on that
Right,
statement.
that didn't make sense. Thank you for catching that. As far as seat belts, here's the deal on seat belts. Seat belts are required to be worn if the cart or other vehicle has them.
Has them, yes.
There are a lot of golf carts that do not have seat belts.
They just don't have them.
And in that case, the law does not require them to be, they're not there, they can't be worn. And it would be, I think, a liability to ask people to retrofit their golf carts with seat belts. And that would be struck down by the law because they are not
It would be.
required.
It
Right.
would be, Mayor, because certain golf carts may not be designed have the holding points for a seat, so that's why that's
Right.
there.
So the argument would be if we try to force people to add seatbelts to the carts, they could sue us and say
That's a
that's not
lawsuit.
required by
That's-
law.
yeah, it's not.
That's, yeah.
So, Mayor, if y'all chose to move forward, you could move forward with Councilman Reyes's amendments, and then we could work that out and make sure those were done.
Well, I'm sorry.
Whatever y'all wish.
There's one other section in here under penalties
that we need to address. Section 8,
Okay,
the second, number 2, second
Okay.
offense and subsequent offenses shall have a minimum fine of $500. We should have a maximum fine in there
Right.
as well, so
Right.
that the judge, when he addresses these issues, knows what his range. Do you have a recommendation
and
on
that
a?
would, and since this is a Class C, it probably that's Scribner's error, that should have been a maximum fine of $500.
Okay, so that should be maximum.
That's a Scribner's error.
So that would need to be changed to maximum instead of minimum.
Yeah, that needs to be maximum fine of 500 because it is a Class C. Nobody's going to jail over this or anything like that, so. Hopefully not.
Okay, can we think of any other questions that people ask that we could address currently? Ryan, did you catch any of them?
A few notes, again, you know, are we increasing liability for city by allowing these vehicles, you know, no more than we already assume standard traffic? You talk about enforcement with limited police resources, enforcement will be compliant driven and handled like other traffic violations. You know, if people do ignore, you know, that risk does exist without any ordinance. Having defined penalties, including escalating fines, provides a deterrent. The education campaign will also play a role in promoting compliance early on with the use of golf carts. As you know, Mayor and Council, I work at y'all's discretion and what y'all choose from that standpoint, either to move forward, amend, or bring back. Staff work under, you know, those arrangements, so.
So when you were in Castle Hills, were there, you've got experience with this before.
Yeah.
So when you were in Castle Hills, were there predominant issues that needed to be addressed, or did y'all have to go back and amend the ordinance?
Not that I recall. Mainly people use golf carts to pick up their children from the elementary school there.
Right.
That was about it. And then to drive to the small park when there was events. It was pretty simple and straightforward.
But Mayor, again, if 2 months down the road, you see something, someone sees something that's not good, and, oh, we want to change it, we'll bring it back and change it.
Right.
That's how simple this is.
Yeah, that's the nature of
Yeah,
ordinances.
that's
how
what
it works.
ordinances are.
Right.
So, I
Right.
mean, this is y'all can do what what you want to do tonight, and if we need to come back, we will, or if you want to pass it, and you see something you want to change and put on there for next month, we can do it.
Right. Well, my suggestion is that we bring it to a vote. That we bring it to a vote. That's what we're here to do, is vote. We can incorporate some of the changes noted in the ordinance, including striking the verbiage that Brian identified, and replacing minimum with maximum.
And again, the discussion about, you know, safe to mix with regular traffic, again, you know, safety is exactly why the ordinance limits those use with the low speed, daytime operation, properly equipped vehicles. You know, is it setting a precedence? You know, that's something the ordinance can be amended if issues arise. You know, council retains full authority to revisit the policy based on, you know, any outcome or want to change any ordinance moving forward, so.
Correct me if I'm wrong, though, to change an ordinance, though, it's gonna have to be unanimous vote, though, right? I mean, one council member can't make a recommendation, and then everybody would have to support that change to the ordinance later on, no?
Just majority vote.
Yeah,
Just majority vote.
Yeah.
Right, so it would be if, let's say, Councilman Smith wanted to make another change to this later, let's say it wasn't working, he wants to make a recommendation to make the change, but he doesn't have other people that agreed for what he wants to do, it dies at the council, right? I know we're saying that we can do changes, but that's kind of not necessary. We're only gonna be able to do changes if it's unanimous vote, is what I'm saying, to allow to make the change.
No, it's just a majority.
Okay, a majority, 3-2 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
and this is the nature of being a legislative body. You know, and this may pass tonight, it may not pass. But this is the nature of being a legislative body. And if you see something that you want to change and you bring it back, it may pass, it may not pass.
I was gonna say too that, I know you disagree with me on the verbiage on the first page. See, I think when it says here that the council finds, it sounds like it's an investigative query that we've done some research on it, that we've come to a conclusion that this is safe, and that's why I don't like the verbiage. I don't wanna have something on my name that says that I found something to be safe and allow it to the general public, when I can tell you right now, I don't have that.
Councilman Reyes, I'm not the one you have to convince. You have to convince your fellow council
Right.
members.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm saying on
And I
that
mean,
first page, right.
I just do what I'm told.
I understand. I'm just responding to the comment that you were mentioning about that. That's what we're elected to do, right? But I don't like the find. It sounds like a deductive investigation, or we've done research on it ourselves and we've come together. That's why I don't like that. I don't like that term. I don't like that verbiage. And then about the seatbelts, I know the mayor brought up the seatbelts. I'm looking on page 4 on the NEVs. It does have seatbelts on here. They are required. But the golf carts, we can't do that with the golf carts, even though it's put in there for the NEV.
NEVs are built with seatbelts.
Always gonna have
But the
seatbelts in NEVs.
side-by-sides do.
But I also know that city ordinances are made to, the state law is the standard, but city ordinances can be more restrictive. They can. That's not a new thing.
Right. Well, again, Councilman, I just do what I'm told. So
I
you
understand.
tell me
And
what-
I'm just
y'all tell me
mentioning
what to
this,
do.
and I'm sorry, I'm talking out loud as I'm walking through this, but yeah, ordinances, city ordinances
Yeah.
can be more restrictive than state. So this thing about being sued, I mean, city ordinances have notoriously been more restrictive than state law. We just have to use state law as the standard. So seatbelts could still be put in here for golf carts to make it safe. I'm sorry, I'll go back to my statement on the roads. If we're gonna use Bat Cave and Chantal Road as our two roads that we're gonna use this for, y'all have seen the roads, they're narrow. I just don't see, I know New Braunfels has golf carts, but some of them have lanes. I mean, they have a wider lane than what we have. I'm looking at the dip, again, going back to Bat Cave. That's why I'm thinking seatbelts are what we need to make it safe. And again, I'm talking based on my experience. I know Kelly's a business owner. He states about, he likes to get things done, and I get that, I respect that about him. But my forte is public safety, and I'm about taking it slow. I work for the government, right? We do things slow because there's a process. So I'm gonna go back to what I reiterated. These comments that I put on this ordinance are really important to me. And again, I go back to what I said earlier about how I have to listen to my constituents, and if we can't wait on this, I'm not supportive of this. I am not right now, so.
Well, from a liability, it reduces, by having the ordinance, the liability sets those clear rules and requiring insurance from a liability standpoint, you know, by having the ordinance and those provisions in place. And again, the city attorney is not here just because he's told, he's also here for advice and sound legal advice from that standpoint.
And that's all we do. That's all I do, so.
And I guess comparatively, as far as adding seatbelts, I mean, to me, it feels like, okay, well, boats don't have seatbelts. We should require that boats have seatbelts.
Yeah, but I think that's a liability issue.
Yeah.
That, you open yourself
Bicycles
up to
don't
getting
have-
sued
Right.
over that. So
Right.
I'm like, no seatbelts on golf carts.
That's what, yeah, I mean, that is a
That's a big no.
that's a slow pitch hit out of the park.
Yeah, it is.
We'll get sued for that.
Yeah,
And again, it comes back to personal responsibility.
it does.
All of this comes back to personal responsibility.
You know, nobody's brought up either. I mean, I know there's the concern of Schoenthal, tomato. But you know, there's a lot of bicycles that slow up Schoenthal. I mean, there's a ton of them. There's e-bikes too, but there's a lot of bicycles. There's a lot of bicycle groups out there. There's 30, 40, 50 bikes, you know, slowing the road up sometimes too. So I know there was a concern about that. But yeah, I hope people have seatbelts in their golf cart. I think that, I would want them. I would want them, but I think there's some people that have older cars that don't, and we can't legally make them retrofit, I don't think.
We can't.
Okay, so what questions haven't been answered? Brian, if we delayed this, what will we be trying to answer?
What I would like to do is, I mean, first of all, this is a huge decision, and not all having everybody here today, to me, is a slap in Jim Mueller's face, I think. I mean, he should be here to hear and get his voice, because he may have concerns too, or questions, and just because he wasn't able to attend tonight, shouldn't hold that against the guy. So I don't think that, I think another month with Jim being here would do well to get what he feels. Maybe there's something that he's missing, or he wants to bring up, and we're not giving him a voice. So I think we should wait. I mean, that's.
Well, I'm not going to speak for Jim. Jim made a choice not to attend tonight. He knew it was on the agenda. He could have been here if he felt it was a dire emergency. Again, I don't want to speak for, I don't want to speak for Jim. I'll just tell you he made a choice not to be here. He had something else that he wanted to attend that he felt was a priority.
What is the time from, so in the event that the ordinance is passed, what is the time frame from the time that it becomes active?
It says April the 1st on this ordinance, so it's today if we vote on it and we approve it.
Well, technically, it has to be published in a newspaper twice. So what I usually do with ordinances is I will send that notice to the newspaper the day after the council meeting. They need a few business days in order to prepare it, give me the proof. Usually ordinances go into effect the later part of the following week after a council meeting, so it would probably be published next Thursday and Friday. And I always coordinate with chief and the police department to let them know when an ordinance is being published, because they can't enforce an ordinance until after the publication date. So technically it would be in probably a week and a half at the most.
I feel that at this point, I think that the city has done their due diligence. I think that as citizens, whether you're for it or against it, we don't charge down the road when we see people jogging or walking in the street. We are good citizens. We slow down, we move over for them, and I would expect that the citizens of Garden Ridge would do the same thing if a golf cart was out there. And just for progress, I say that if ordinances can be amended and things can be made clear, that we just move forward and we vote. And if we move forward, then my vote would be for it.
Well, has everybody agreed that we should vote? That is my recommendation. It's a yes or a no. I mean, it's a vote.
I vote no.
Well, we're not voting yet.
You said it's a yes or a no, right?
Well, I mean, it's
On
a
the
yes
vote,
or no.
I said I don't want to
bringing
vote
the
right now. That's a no.
And bringing the ordinance forward. My suggestion is that we make the changes and we bring the ordinance forward for a vote. There's no point in kicking the can down the road.
No.
I don't know what else we can add to this that's going to make it any, I don't know.
Yeah, I hate to kick the can down the road. So I'm gonna look out in the audience out there and tell you that we do have procedures in the city that if there's an ordinance that gets passed by this council, there are ways that you could do a petition and come up and have that ordinance removed. It's not that difficult. We've never done it before, but we've only had a city charter for a couple of years where that sort of thing was allowed. So for the folks that are very passionate about this and very passionately against it, there's an avenue to go down if you would wish to go down that path. I spoke about kicking the can, and I don't like kicking the can. We've looked at this, we've looked at it again, we've looked at it again, we've looked at it again. If legal says we've fulfilled the legal requirements, okay, I'm not sure what else we can do. Our city attorney has given me the thumbs up over there going, we've fulfilled the legal requirements. We can reassess this at any point in the council. Anybody sitting up here at this dais next month, the month after, however they want to do it, can reassess this, can bring it back up, put it on the agenda. But yes, we have beaten this horse to death. We've barbecued it, we've digested it, and we're about to remove the residue. So I would agree it is time to move forward in this case, and it can be reassessed at any time. And I'll look at the folks in the audience and the ones that left that couldn't stay for the end of this. It can be reassessed at any given time, any council meeting, and you can also do a petition to do a recall, to do any of those things. So we have avenues of ways of addressing that. And with that, I'll just recommend that we move forward and call for a vote.
Those are great points. Yes, again, as citizens, if you don't like an ordinance, there are ways to approach that. There's a legal path that can be followed, and it is in our charter, So, okay, if we bring it to a vote, would somebody like to make a motion and include the couple of things that we have that need to be amended in the ordinance, in this particular ordinance?
I think we need to establish exactly what we want to amend it, and then we could bring the motion forward.
What do we want to amend? Do we want to leave in the, and safe to allow the general public, or strike that? And safe to allow the general public. And that's what we talked about, that is, we're elected officials with the responsibility. We make lots of decisions that take into account public safety. So it's an in or out question.
Based on legal guidance, I'm gonna say in. Our city attorney said leave it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think Brian made a lot of very valid points, that we didn't really do a study to find that it was safe, but based on what's happened in other cities and other municipalities that have allowed golf carts, we're finding that it's safe.
So we leave that one in. Brian also caught the word traffic control is enforced by the Garden Ridge Police Department. That needs to be struck. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, yeah.
And the seat belt, we're not adding requirements for seat belts.
No, that's a liability issue.
Yeah.
Please don't get near that.
No, I agree. No, I know that's. No. And then we need to change minimum to maximum.
Yes.
And Mayor, I think it should be clarified, go up, on the comment that Councilmember Reyes has on page 2 about members of the public may continue to use these on private roads and gated subdivisions. And he's saying to strike the where traffic control is enforced. I think what it means to say is the same wording that's in the whereas clause that y'all are talking about, the safe to allow on private streets and gated subdivisions and public streets and roads within the city limits where traffic is controlled. I think there's just some words missing in there, but if you take out the where traffic control is enforced by the Garden Ridge Police Department, I also don't think that paragraph makes sense either.
Okay.
So I think it just needs to be consistent wording throughout, if that makes sense.
Tell me which whereas it is?
The same whereas that y'all are talking about with the safe,
Oh,
safe
okay,
to
it's in
allow
that same, okay.
towards the end. So it talks about private streets and gated subdivisions and public streets and roads within city limits where traffic is controlled. I think that same wording is what should be incorporated in C of the next page.
Yeah.
Okay, how should we present that in the motion?
I would just read it all off, what we
Okay.
just discussed. I'm hoping Marissa kept notes, or Cindy did.
So I think you refer back to that one?
Okay, where I move that we vote to approve ordinance number 168042026. The proposed regulation provide a balanced approach that allows expanded use of alternative vehicles while maintaining public safety through clearly defined standards and enforcement mechanisms, with also addressing, making the amendments to page 1, no, page 2. Making the amendments on page 2, striking out where traffic control is enforced by Garden Ridge Police Department, and have which posted speed limits of not more than 15 miles per hour, along with striking.
This one needs to reflect the whereas.
To reflect the whereas on page 1, where the city council finds it beneficial to the environment of, they need to be the same.
Is that sufficient?
Yes, I'll reword it a little, but
Okay.
I think we get your intent.
Okay,
Okay.
thanks. And then one more.
And with the amendment of changing the words minimum to maximum on section 8 penalties.
Okay, we've got a motion. Can we get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Can we take it to?
I think we should wait till Jim Mueller comes back, but that's my last statement.
Okay, take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed?
That is 3-1. The ayes have it. The mayor is a tiebreaker. I don't vote. No. Okay, let's move on to 7.2, ordinance number 11-042026, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, providing a comprehensive set of permit fees, service fees, and user fees designed for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents, establishing functions and activities which require a permit, a service fee, or a user fee. Excuse me? Okay, thank you. You can leave now, please. This is inappropriate behavior. Officer? Officer? And user fees designed for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents, establishing functions and activities which require a permit, a service fee, or a user fee, providing for penalties, providing for severability, and declaring an effective date. City Manager?
Mayor and Council, as you recall, we changed the building code a couple months ago from 2009 to 21. The next step was to establish a fee schedule, which outlines all of our permits related to residential and commercial. This item is an ordinance to adopt a comprehensive schedule of fees for city services, including permits, both residential and commercial, licenses and inspections. The fee schedule modifies fees related to residential and commercial. For instance, current square footage is 34 cents, and we are raising it to 70 cents. We also raise the commercial values related to development in the community. For further development in the community, includes a fee schedule and the need to get a permit now for replacement of your roof in Garden Ridge. The schedule creates a single consistent reference for fees and allows city council to update fees in the future without needing to amend the ordinance each time. If you recall, right now, we have different ordinances, different fees. This now supersedes it with one ordinance with these fees moving forward. As part of this update, residential commercial permit fees were reviewed and adjusted to better align surrounding communities, helping ensure the city remains competitive and continues to recover the service costs. The ordinance also clarifies common permit requirements, including building, electrical sign, and pole permits, along with general conditions like permit validity. It also includes other standard fees such as public information requests and return checks. The ordinance outlines penalties for violations, including fines and double fees for work started without the required permits. Overall, this provides clarity, consistency, and flexibility in how the city manages service fees moving forward. Essentially, it's a one-stop for all of our fees and provides, again, those provisions outlined if you do pull a permit for something here in Garden Ridge and what happens if you don't pull a permit for the work being done in Garden Ridge. Pretty much all cities have a general schedule of fees. This is just aligning it and being consistent with surrounding communities, similar to Garden Ridge in this case as well. This has been reviewed not only by city attorney, but by our building inspector, third party, who does plan review and inspections for Garden Ridge, and they also inspect other similar cities to ours in the Bexar County, Comal area. So they've reviewed this and recommend moving forward with this as well. This next step will get us to online permitting as well. So these are just things that needed to be done probably in the last 5 or 10 years from that standpoint. We've already addressed the building code. This now has a universal schedule of fees for permits related to residential and commercial. So, any questions, council?
Great job, Ryan. I was just going to ask on the cons where there may be concerns about residents or developers that aren't aware of the adjustments. How are you guys going to get it out for the city the community to know?
Yeah, and again, this is like a one-stop shop. So when they come in, we'll have the actual ordinance and a copy, and the exhibit, like an exhibit A, will be the schedule of fees. So they can see everything related to commercial values, because it starts from $0 to $1 million and then has monetary included in those ranges. Yeah. And right now, ours is kind of far behind other cities who are developing and doing commercial work. This is why this needed to be raised.
Any further discussion? Are we ready to make a motion? Can I get a motion?
Motion. You got it? You got it?
I'm trying to find the motion. It's recommend approving ordinance number 11-04-2026, establishing the schedule of fees. The updated fee structure reflects regional comparability, improves administrative efficiency, and ensures the city can appropriately recover costs while promoting compliance with city regulations.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed, the ayes have it. On to 7.3, ordinance number 249-042026, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, authorizing, establishing, and approving an economic development policy, authorizing the city manager to process requests for economic development assistance in accordance therewith and declaring an effective date. City manager?
Mayor and council, this item for consideration is adopting an economic development policy for the city of Garden Ridge. The purpose of this policy is to create a clear framework for how the city evaluates and uses economic development incentives. It is focused on encouraging high-quality commercial development along 3009 and 2252, increasing sales and property tax revenue, and improving quality of life for residents. This policy outlines what types of incentives the city can offer, such as tax rebates, grants, infrastructure participation under a Chapter 380 of the Texas Local Government Code. It also makes clear that incentives are not guaranteed. They are considered on a case-by-case basis, must show a clear financial need, and must provide measurable public benefit. Any incentives will be performance-based, meaning that only provided after the project is completed and generated new revenue. There is no immediate fiscal impact from adopting this policy. Overall, this policy provides transparency, protects the public funds, and ensures the city maintains full discretion on all agreements. And again, this is expanding and allowing us to have a toolbox for incentivizing or working public-private participation deals in the future. But it allows the conduit of using a Chapter 380 for those as well. So we have to pass this by ordinance.
Any council discussion?
I mean, with, excuse me, with everything we have working right now, I mean, obviously, he needs to have that at his disposal, right? So, that's something I think we should have had in here anyways, an ordinance, so.
Anything else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is something I know that we've kind of have talked about in the past, and I know Ryan, I think you established this at Castle Hills as well. I think this is a great idea, and I'm glad that you were able to put this together. So this is gonna do good for what we're trying to do with the development of the city, so thank you.
Yeah, and if you see the Exhibit A, that kind of outlines purpose, the establishment, and kind of goes through the whole process of establishing this policy. It's essentially what most cities have in place to be able to do any type of economic development incentives or public-private participation projects.
Okay, no further discussion. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance number 249-042026, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Garden Ridge, Texas, authorizing, establishing, and approving an economic development policy, authorizing the city manager to process requests for economic development assistance in accordance therewith, and declaring an effective date.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed. The ayes have it. 7.4, authorize the city manager to execute amendment to communication facilities license and memorandum of lease and deliver the executed documents to American Tower Corporation. City manager.
Mayor and council, this is a third amendment. The city entered an agreement with American Tower, which does the cell tower, I can't remember what they're exactly called, like little satellites or whatever that they have up there. And the city did an agreement. They've amended it a few years ago, and this is the third amendment to it. The company that manages and oversees asked if there would be some language in the agreement removed, like first the right refusal to negotiate with them, and then it also allows the tenant to handle permitting on the city's behalf with the telecommunication-related improvements with any authority to rezone the property. So essentially, they're asking us to omit some language that was in it originally and then give them first right of refusal, which I have no problem with, city attorney has no problem with. I know Dan talked to the real estate attorney in his office, and they didn't have an issue. As a result, they're gonna give us a signing bonus or a one-time dollar amount of $20,000 to use moving forward for anything we'd like for the city. So,
It's all good, like Ron said, I even had the real estate attorney take a look at it. And everything is good.
Okay, council discussion.
one thing, council, probably during the budget workshop to talk about what we could use that dollars, since it has to do with our towers, what we could do to improve a couple of towers, whether that's branding. I know there's been discussion before with the school district about doing something on that tower as well. So at least we can provide dollars and partner moving forward with this $20,000 as a signing bonus or a one-time payment.
So no council discussion, and can we get a motion? Yes, it needs a motion.
I'm sorry,
I don't-
Robin had been involved with me on this, but she has a family commitment, so I let her go, so, sorry, from a fiscal standpoint.
I make a motion to recommend approval of authorizing the city manager to execute the third amendment to the Communications Facilities License Agreement with Municipal Bay LLC.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just so you're aware, council, we do have the lease agreement with them for a certain amount of space up there with the telecommunications. And they're actually going to expand sort of the footprint on that with our approval, and then actually monthly pay the city more for that expanded use for space on the tower. So.
Okay, let's
Okay.
take it. Let's take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it. On to 8, citizen comment period. Not required to sign up, limited to 1 minute speaking time. And again, we cannot respond to your comments. You're right. I read it as one 2-minute
Say
period.
what I need to
missed the
say
two.
in
Right.
1 minute. Sharon Stripling, 21729 Forest Water Circle. I thank y'all for taking your time to address all this stuff with the golf carts. Y'all already know where I stand because my neighborhood gets affected big time. Everybody's been illegal, but that's okay. That's beside the point. One point I do want to make, I do pay attention to the city stuff. I do come to meetings. I think there needs to be a better way to communicate further in advance about the public forum. I didn't find out about the one last meeting till maybe when the agenda got posted. And a lot of people don't even pay any attention to that. I think that's one thing. Golf carts don't have seatbelts, probably because they're meant to stay on the golf course and not on our public roads, is another comment. And my last one is, I worked for 30 years with a malpractice insurance company with the board of directors, and we never passed anything, ever, that was incomplete or you were gonna make changes to and putting it out there. You should have had the changes, tabled it, put the changes in it and did it. I know you got an attorney sitting right here. I read this ordinance in here and I couldn't even understand that one line there. So, but that's okay. Y'all had a job to do and it was done. Thank you.
Thank you. We can move on to 9, announcements on items of community interest. Oh, I'm sorry, Ken, I didn't see you walking up. Come on.
I guess I spend too much time at the high school communicating with the young students that are going to be our future leaders, and I hope they listen better than you do to your citizens. I attended a baseball tournament, and my wife and I got to sit next to a student from another school district, and on the last day that they were leaving, because they were there for 4 games, and we sat next to her and talked to her, and she was more concerned about her cheering for her team and interrupting us and disturbing us. And I says, no, your fans aren't even cheering on your team, go ahead. And when she left, she told us, I wish I could stay here and hang out with you two rather than go back to school. Now this is students that I don't associate with. The students I do, we've actually got 2 people that are on the soccer team. One is the vet's daughter, who's a senior. She is on the team. And we also have a firefighter who is on Shane-Tall Road. She's a senior this year. And they will be tomorrow night. The city of Seguin puts a big old matador right next to Seguin High School. The school district didn't approach you. I think it was Mayor Erickson at the time who came up and said he would like to see the wolf and it be illuminated with the maroon when we play and we win. Well, I tell you what, your tower would be more maroon than it'd be plain because we have been very successful in all of our athletics and academics. Right now, for the Dan Cook Award, we are number 1 in the city because we have outscored all the schools. We're ahead by about 30 or 40 points. And it's not only based on athletics, it's also based on fine arts and our band. And most of our band made orchestra in the state. So we have a very good school. Thank you.
Thank you.
Literally
2 seconds.
Okay, Sarah.
When I talk to you guys, I talked really fast. I'm a good officer. I prepared a 1-page that just is what I said. If I'm allowed to hand it to you, I don't know the rules of civilian world. But we will be getting on your calendars to talk to each of you individually about the library, and that's why I waited all this time. Can I just pass you the piece of paper? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah. It looks like we've got another one. Welcome. No, good. Got a couple more? Yes.
I'm Valinda McAllister, 21260 Forest Waters Circle. You heard from a whole lot of us tonight. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying as long as you have. But it's a serious thing to me because I didn't know about the open hearing. And Kelly, I know you said, everybody said they wanted it. And so tonight, you had almost everybody saying they didn't want it. But you just plowed ahead and said it's done, and we're gonna rewrite it in the middle of this council meeting. 20 years in commercial real estate law, I would never put a contract in front of anybody where I was still rewriting it before everybody had seen it. Y'all really need to step back. I know your attorney is blessing it verbally, but you're putting your name on that. You need to see it in full, in writing, because you are legally, somebody will pursue you in some way. And I don't think you want that. Todd says, I'm out of here. And you know what? You just need to take this I never saw or heard a risk-benefit analysis. What were the risks? What were the benefits of these golf carts? And yet it's taken years to talk about it. That just blows me away. A risk-benefit analysis. What are we going to get out of it, and what are we going to risk? You would do that in your business before you went any further. So thank you, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Looks like we got Rod.
Save the worst for last. Rod Chamberlain, 8807 Cherokee Path, Garden Ridge. Thanks for listening. I know it's a tough call. I disagree with it, tough call. And like I said before, the way it's put together today, it needs to be modified. There are so many holes in it. I'm not for or against golf carts, but I'll put the offer out there if you want to discuss to see what can be done to make it more solid, protect the city from a liability position, safety for the residents. Just, give me a call. I'd be more than happy to send you out the email or the notes or whatever. But thanks again for listening. Just wanted you to know AT&T Fiber, I've been asking about internet for some time. Apparently they've input everything on the other side of 35, and they're now starting to come on this side of 35. But I don't know if anyone's reached out to Garden Ridge to coordinate or how they're going to put it in or implement it. They're saying within the next 12 months or by the end of the year, they'll have fiber in Garden Ridge. So I don't know if someone's lying to me or not, but I was excited. So the fees for residential, I understood if it's someone's redoing their roof, there's a fee that's now charged or something that they have to get. Is there any way, if there's something we can communicate out to the homeowners through the HOAs, would be great, just a summary, so that we can at least make them aware of it, so that it is coming, because the last thing we need is unqualified contractors out there. They go do what they're doing and don't come up, and all of a sudden the homeowner's stuck with the problem from that side. So whatever we can do would be great.
We can put the word out again. It has to do with the replacement of your roof. If you're doing minor repairs to your roof, it's considered maintenance and you don't need a permit.
Okay, how about fences?
Fences, depending on the percentage of the fence that you are repairing, can be maintenance, but if you're replacing the entire fence, then yes, a permit.
But if you have a link or something or a document, I'll be more than happy to get it out to my HOA members.
We can put that together and get it with you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we are moving on to 9, announcements of items of community interest. Anybody have anything they'd like to mention? I did want to mention we've got an Adopt a Highway cleanup event on April 11th from 8 to 10. This is on 3009, and everybody needs to meet at City Hall. There's more information posted
about it online.
Guys, we have the air show coming up, so hopefully everybody has that on their calendar. It is a big deal. They love coming here so much. We've had it almost every other year now. And I don't think many places get that opportunity. You would know better. I mean, Todd would know better, but
Well, it might have something to do with this being military city, but yeah, they do an air
Right.
show every other year. It's flops between Lackland and Randolph. This year it's up here at Lackland, or up here at Randolph, so.
yeah, and the chambers, there's several chambers jumping in and helping, and it's Northeast Partnership is very involved, so it's pretty awesome. But that's May 1st, 2nd, 3rd,
I
right?
think so, yeah. Whatever that first weekend is.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyone else? Item of community interest? Okay, then we will move on to 10, executive session. The city council will recess its open meeting and reconvene in closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0712, consultation with attorney on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with this chapter pertaining to Howard Energy and its request to install natural gas lines in the city of Garden Ridge, Texas, and any other matters which may arise. So we will convene into executive session. The time is 8:27. Do I have to state the date we're reconvening in executive from? Just the time. We will reconvene into regular session at 8:45 or 6. I can't tell what that says. 8:46. Thanks for the backup there. No action was taken in executive session, so on to item 12, adjournment. There being no further business, the city council regular meeting is adjourned at 8:46. Phew.